Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Hussey, and I brought you out in the backyard today to give you an idea of what kind of an environment I live in, and to tell you about my new iPhone 7. Now, you probably don't care that I have a new iPhone 7, but it provides a useful analogy for some of the problems we deal with in how eyes don't work together and the problems that kids have, for example, in reading. Well, so we had to get a new phone. That was a matter that I had an iPhone 5 and it developed digital dementia or its brains got fried or something, and it is my emergency line, and so we had to get a new phone before this thing in its death spiral finally got to the bitter end. And so we went to the phone store when the people at the phone store looked at our cellular plan and looked at my wife's iPhone, which was even older than mine. Then we decided, well, the thing to do is to upgrade to new iPhone 7s. And this is an amazing device. It is a technological marvel. Look at how thin it is. It's ultra fast. It's got 128 gigabytes of memory. My laptop computer I use routinely only has about 250 gigabytes of memory, so this has almost as much memory as my computer. It has enough computing power in it that I could probably bring Apollo 13 back to Earth with the computing power in my new iPhone 7. Now, one of the problems we ran into is when they built this technological marvel, they mashed all these brains and all this memory in this thing. They changed the antenna a little bit. Well, now look behind you. You see a lot of trees back there. We live down kind of near a little river, surrounded by tree-covered hills. Pretty nice place to live, all in all. But that means that cell signals have trouble getting here. When we first moved in here, it's over 20 years ago now. That was back when some of you can remember that television sets had antennas on top. We called them rabbit ears. And there was one TV station that you could sort of get down here in the gully when we first moved in. So you had to bring in cable, right? And then you get 3,000 channels and there's still nothing to watch, but that's a separate issue. But the point is that when they built my new iPhone 7, they changed the antenna a little bit from the old iPhone 5. And now cell calls drop out. Now, it's an intermittent thing. It's not a constant deal. It's not that we can't get a cell signal here. It's that the phone will ring sometimes, and we get a little bit of time on the phone, and then the phone call drops out. I'm sure that happens a lot of different places, but it didn't used to happen here with the old iPhone 5 because the antenna was just a little bit different, and now we lose cell calls. That's a problem, especially for my wife, because we upgraded her to a new iPhone 7, and she says, why did we do this when we live in a hole? Well, we've tried several different things, several different fixes. You know, if you remember the old rabbit ears days, you used to put aluminum foil on the rabbit ears, and that helped out the signal. Guess what? It doesn't help with an iPhone 7. You can get cell extenders, I think they call them, and that didn't work. So we work with call forwarding, and we're surviving. Not a big deal. Now, why do I tell you all of that? The problem is that the signal does not get from out there to my iPhone 7. This thing has a lot of brains, but the signal doesn't get to the brains. Well, people have a lot of brains too. And the problem we run into in vision is that the signal doesn't get to the brains. The signal drops out right about there. On a lot of folks, it's called a suppression. The full technical term is intermittent central suppression. And it's the same kind of thing. It's an intermittent thing where the signal doesn't get to the brain. We have kids, we have people, we have adults who have number one brains, but they have trouble reading because the signal doesn't reliably get from there to there. Just like in my new iPhone 7, as smart as it is, the signal doesn't get from out there to here. Now, the good news about humans is we can treat suppression. It takes time, but the risk is very, very low, and the benefit can be very, very high. And so we can treat people without injuring them, and we can improve how things work by getting the signal from there to there in one piece consistently over time. And that's what therapy for intermittent central suppression is all about. My phone, well, we tried the aluminum foil, that didn't work. We tried the range extender, that didn't work. Maybe we could put a cell tower right out back here, like on top of one of those pine trees. I should probably call somebody about that. Now I'm thinking for that call I probably need to use a landline, but I should call somebody